New Canoe Nation. Welcome back to another edition of Unlimited. Glad to have you folks all here this evening. Please go down in that lower left-hand corner, smash it, smash the share button. Let's get some folks in here. Drop in the comments where you're tuning in from, what boat you're floating out of. Let's have a little conversation. Hope everybody's well. I know some folks are getting some Unlimiteds. Jealous. Definitely jealous. Soon, hopefully. Someday. I'm dreaming. Hope you guys are good. And got Christopher Russell in the chat. He's right there with me, man. Can't wait to have my Unlimited. He's tuning in from Denver, Colorado. Wonderful. Awesome. Good to see you folks in here this evening. Blaine Upton in the house. What's up, brother? We got another epic guest for you this evening, Mr. Forrest. Dude, I forgot to ask him how to pronounce his last name, so I'm going to totally butcher this. He's laughing at me right now. Forrest Buchan?
Change the H to a K, then you got it.
Buchan?
Buchan.
See, I told you I was going to butcher it. Called it. Sorry, brother.
You and everybody else. I'm used to it.
You know, it's funny, man, because I was thinking about it today, and I'm like, I got to remember to ask him how to pronounce his last name. You know, I've been having these easy last names, Griffin, Milton, things like that. So now I'm throwing a curveball.
Not so lucky tonight.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. Those of you tuning in, watching, if you get cut short on the show, don't forget you can always catch this on any major podcast platform after this airs, or it'll be on our Facebook page. You can go back and watch at a later date and time. But Forrest, my man, you are from upstate New York, correct?
Yeah.
Close to upstate, like central New York?
Well, I live in, it's like Western New York, but I'm originally from Louisiana.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? You moved to the cold north, man.
Look, I didn't have no choice. I got up here. Unfortunately, my grandma passed away, and we got the house up here. So I'm like, hey, let's move up north. So you're not a dumb hillbilly. Get you some good education. It didn't work too good though. I'm still a little on the goofy side.
Right on.
The Great White North sunk its claws in, and I'm still here.
You guys have been thawing out though, right? You got open water up there now
for 2.5, maybe 3 weeks. Unfortunately,
okay. Dude, it's pretty much been the same here in Northern Illinois. So I feel your pain, my friend. I was fortunate enough to get down to Tennessee last weekend, so I kind of got my fix in until I get back down to Tennessee or decide to get out on the water out here, because weather is shaping up. It's getting a little warmer. I think we hit 60 today, heat wave. But yeah, man, it's good. So why don't you tell the good folks a little bit about you, man? I know you started there. Like, how'd you get into fishing, kayak fishing, all that good stuff, man? And what ended up leading you to getting a new canoe?
Oh man, well, kind of pretty much like a lot of people's stories is my grandpa, my dad, and my mom, they got me into it, and I kind of sunk its dirty, rotten claws down deep and turned into a very bad addiction. And just kept growing up, moving on, and then when you're little, you like catching, so bluegill, crappie, perch, whatever. You just like catching. And then the older I got, the more I started watching, the Bassmasters, more Jimmy Houston, Bell Dancing, watching them catch these bass. And then my grandpa used to do a little tournament fishing, and oh boy, it got worse.
Yeah.
It got worse. And started doing that, and then probably about 15 years old, 14, 15, somewhere in there, we moved up from Louisiana up here to New York, and I spent the last 11 years up here now, and got up here and left everything I ever knew. doing the high school thing, got into the sport, so kind of put fishing on a back burner for a minute, and then I graduated and I got me started out I had me one of those little plastic pond raider pontoon boats,
Oh, right on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Had one of those for a hot minute. Had a glitter rocket for a hot second. Got rid of those, working and stuff, and then my grandpa gave me his one of his old kayaks, just a dinky set on top, molded to your butt Pelican or something, most uncomfortable thing you ever been in your entire life.
Sure.
Like just the worst thing. Caught fish, so it did its job, and then all of a sudden I had a buddy, then he had what did he have? He had a Pursuit. And I seen that, I was like, what in tarnation is this? It just completely blew my mind. I was like, standing up in a kayak. What?
Yeah. Yeah. You can do that?
Yeah, I just mind blown.
Right.
And I was like, so I paddled it around. I was like, I need one of these. I need one. And so I started saving my money, and I saw a Flint for sale. And I was like, I'm gonna buy it. Went to go buy it. Guy sold it the day before. I was like, come on. And then he told me he had a Frontier 12 for sale, and I was like, I want it. I'm coming right now. Here's the cash. So, and I went out with the guy before, and got to paddle the Flint around and fish out of it. So it's like I paddled the Pursuit around for just a quick hop in and hop out deal. But the Flint was actually the first fishing kayak that I've ever done anything in, and I was hooked.
Yeah.
So I went and picked up that F12, and it was, flat out like a lizard drinking, man. I was cruising. Took that thing everywhere. It stayed strapped to my car probably over 250, 260 plus days a year. Like it stays strapped to my car. Everybody knows me from a little blue cruise with a big orange kayak strapped to the top of it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. We got Bob Briggs in the chat. He says, "Who bought the Flint?" I don't know if that's
yeah, that degenerate right there that asked that question is the one that bought it.
Degen. I like it. I like it. Well, that's cool, man. So how long ago was that? How long have you been in a NuCanoe?
3.5, 4 years.
Okay. Right on. Right on.
Yeah. So yeah, probably right at 3.5. I think this is going on year number 4 because I've been on the team now for 2 years, and I spent 1 year, just fishing, and my first year actually into the kayak bass fishing side of things, and then dove head first into it and took off.
Right on, man. So let's talk about that, man. Like getting on the team. Like what made you want to get on the NuCanoe team in general? And like what was your journey like to get there?
Oh man, the whole reason I wanted to be on a team is because it's just like I am absolutely obsessed with these boats. Some people they just want to be on a team because they want the clout. They want to be a part of something. They don't care what, whoever's going to give them the best deal, or
Sure.
And it's like, and from everything I knew about NuCanoe at the time, that wasn't really the case as far as I knew. And like I knew the customer service was out of this world, and I dealt with couple of like just some of the small little issues like the seat material and stuff like that, and they hooked me right up, sent the stuff right out. Every time I had or I had a question about something, I'd call or email, and was always met with just somebody there, not just getting pushed around to customer service to voice dial to something else. There's always somebody there. And then talking to some of the team guys, they were always so helpful, and it's just like I wanted to be a part of something that I believed in, and that believed in me. It's like they didn't just like, oh yeah, you want to be on the team? Here you go. I fished out of my boat and put in the work and did a lot of tried to do as much as I knew that I could to try to get on there. And here I am now, 2.5, 3 years later almost.
That's cool, man. I know, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on tonight, because I know you're super active with, being one of those go-to team guys that a lot of folks that are looking to get into a new canoe, they approach you with questions a lot. You're always there to answer, setting up, personal demos and boats and things like that, man. So, for the folks out there that may be on the fence of buying a new canoe, and what would be your recommendations to like reach out to a team guy, things like that, some questions to ask and stuff like that, man?
I just, I just, if you're reaching out to me, or it's like anybody that I've ever reached out to, before I was on the team, it's just if you've got a question, no matter what it is, like come to somebody and ask, and like I'm always gonna, sing the praises for new canoes because I love them to death. They're the perfect boat for me. But it's like, I've never had anybody, try to tell me any stories about anything, or it's like everybody I've dealt with is, they're straightforward and they're honest with us.
Sure.
It's like the Clint Eastwood movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Like everybody tells you the truth. Nobody's trying to, oh, this is the greatest, thing in the world. It has no issues. Everybody's honest with you. It's like, so, and everybody I know, they go out of their way to give you the best, answers they can.
Amen to that, man. Right on. So, you're still in the Frontier 12, right?
Some lucky fellas in it now. I'm sitting here waiting like you on a bump on a log, waiting for my to come in now. I feel naked.
You got any other model boats? I mean, like
I don't. I need to
okay.
buckle up Buttercup and pick me up another one or two. I'd like to either get me a F10 or a Flint because I do a lot of creek fishing.
Yeah.
I used to do it with my F12 all the time, no problem, but something a little smaller and lighter would definitely be optimum to throw in there. Just something to have as a backup.
Yeah, man, I love that Flint. I got a small river not too far from the house, man, and I love just floating that. We'll do all day floats on that river, 10, 11 hours chasing smallmouth. And I mean, you could literally, at points probably jump across the river. I'm probably stretching that a little bit, but dude, that Flint for small water, man, it's just top notch.
No, absolutely. It's like, well, the Frontier was great for it too. It's just, some of the places I had to take this thing were, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was tight.
Climbing mountains to get down there.
Pretty much on some of these, and sometimes it really wasn't the put in that was the worst. It was the takeout that was terrible.
Yeah. Climbing that hill with all your gear.
Yeah.
I've been there, man.
Real quick, I only take one or two rods in one box. Maybe that's it.
We got Mikkel Warner in the chat. I'm nuts, but I use a Flint in the bays and inlands in southern New Jersey. Hey man, whatever gets you out there, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's where I used the Flint for the first time, was on a pretty good sized lake, and for me it did fine. Wasn't blowing terrible hard, but handled great for what it is.
Right on, man. So, are you mostly freshwater fishing? You doing any saltwater since you're kind of close?
No, I'm not anywhere close to the coast, but I'd probably give an arm and a leg to take a new canoe down back to Louisiana, down to the marsh, or even down to Florida where my grandma lives in Tampa. Cause I beat the pier fish up out there, or in the little bays and stuff around there. I couldn't even imagine if I could get to some of these places, just off the beaten path. It'd be insane.
Right on. Yeah, dude, that's a bucket list trip for me, man, to go down to, Florida and chase tarpon with a fly rod out of a kayak.
Oh Lord.
Oh yeah.
Like that'll beat you right up.
That's right. I want the pain. I want the torture.
Man, I couldn't imagine catching a tarpon out of a kayak. Because I've caught some pretty big pike out of my kayak and a couple giant carp, and it's just like, holy crap. I couldn't even imagine catching something, 50, 60, 200 pounds out of a kayak. Man.
Yeah, man, that tail dancing, that'll get you, man. That'll get you.
Oh, I'd give my other arm and leg to do it. Don't know how I'd reel anything in at this point, but I'd try.
Right on, man. Well, so what species are you mainly chasing after up there in New York?
I everything. Like pretty much warm weather rolls around. I like to get at like I pretty much just focus on the bass, but early season like this, I like to go out and catch crappie, perch, and right before walleye season closes, go catch walleye, and then once all that dies off or it closes, I really just lay my focus down on bass for the season
Right
until it
on, man.
starts getting back into the fall, and then I transfer back over to walleye fishing. Really,
Yeah, that was kind of what caught my eye. I asked you to send me a couple photos. I'm gonna pop it up here on the screen, but you got a couple nice fillets in the back of that F12 there, brother.
well, there's 10 of them in there.
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
if you want to count individual fillets, but yeah, that's I've got a little honey hole that I would probably have to put somebody down if they started spreading the word about
Right on, man.
it.
What are you using live bait for them? Running
No,
cranks?
straight up plastics.
Really?
Casting with
Interesting.
plastics, and like I've gone out there when it's 25 degrees and ice is just choking up my guides, and they're just absolutely putting this swim bait down their throats. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like I go down there and I can catch my limit in less than an hour. It's stupid.
Ooh, I hate you. I hate
Like
you.
I leave them biting. I'll go out, I'll catch my limit, catch 2 or 3 more, and then I leave because I don't want to beat it up.
Yeah. 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 River, lake.
It's a creek off of a small river.
Okay.
And it's like I've got to do more exploring on this river this year because like if they're here in this creek, they've got to be farther along. And it's just like I'm a little too scared for some of these stageouts, so I don't ever go. I'm gonna have to find somebody super trustworthy to help me get them out.
Rodrigo is asking how many unlimited kayaks can the factory make per day? That is a great question. If I had to guess, it's probably in the area of 30 or 40. I could be wrong though. But hang tight, brother. They're on the way. They're running nonstop. I think they're running 3 shifts up at the factory. So they're trying to get caught up, my friend. Trying to get caught up. But getting back to the walleye eyes, man, the Walters, dude. I mean, that's one of my favorite fish to catch. That was something I used to do with a good friend of mine, and he chased the walleye circuits for years, and we're spoiled with Green Bay up here, which is just a
Yeah.
walleye factory, man.
Oh, I've seen it.
You know.
I've just recently become obsessed with these walleye. Like I caught my first one last year,
Okay. All right.
and I caught my first one accidentally fishing a boat tournament with a buddy. I was like, holy crap, this is my first walleye, a little 15, 16 incher. I was like, cool. And then I was down fishing the river. The weirdest thing, I was throwing a 7-inch curly tail worm in like black neon and caught like a 26-inch walleye. I was like, what? What?
Oh yeah,
What's
man.
going on here? I was like, sweet, it's a smallie. And I was like, this is not fighting like a smallie. Like I was like, holy crap. So I started doing a little digging, and then that's really become one of my I love chasing them now. Like, and I strictly target them from a kayak. I don't I don't go out in the boat. I don't go trolling with guys. I go out in my kayak, and I've got that honey hole, and it's deadly. It's
Right
deadly.
on. Sounds like I need to come to New York, man.
Do it. Any time in the fall is a good time to go.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Up on Green Bay, I mean, it can get nutty, man. Like your smallest fish for the day will be like 22 inches.
That's insane. That's the nice thing about my little creek too, is like the average
Those,
fish in there is insane for what it is. It's like the
yeah,
average fish is 17 to 22. It's crazy. Like
perfect eaters, man. I remember, I got a friend that lives out in Idaho. He fishes for sturgeon and out of a kayak. And out there they look at walleyes like you and I would look at a carp, like a garbage fish, But it's funny
I'll take all
how
their trash.
what's that?
I'll take all their trash.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny how folks look at different species of fish throughout the country. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like even a lot of people, they look at catfish as a trash fish, and it's like,
Yeah,
when I used to live in Louisiana, oh, I was a catfishing fiend too.
yeah.
Like people would shun me straight down to the fiery pits for some of these bluegill we used to use as bait. We're catching, 50, 60, 70-pound catfish on them.
Ooh, that would be fun in a kayak, man. You do any catfishing out of the kayak?
I've only caught one out of the kayak up here. It's like that's something I haven't really tried to turn my focus back on since I moved up here because I didn't really know they had too many up here. But I've come to find out the channel catfishing in my little walleye honey hole might be a little better than I was led on to believe. So I got to do a little bit of testing on that.
Right on.
But they're not going to be as big as what I'm used to, though, because I'm spoiled with the big blue cats and flatheads back in Louisiana.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll take anything. I like catching fish, and the only bad news there is I like eating them too. So
yeah, yeah. I know.
Just go.
I know the kayak catfishing tournament scene is becoming bigger.
Yeah, I actually watch a couple of guys that do that. It's like, holy crap.
We got Dave in the chat on YouTube. He says catfish out of a kayak is 100% hand-to-hand combat. I like it.
I can imagine because they're not the friendliest of critters. I used to do some noodling for them too. They'll tear you up.
You still got all your fingers, man?
For now. Ain't had a turtle get one yet.
And then you noodling guys are, I don't know, you're something else, man. Nuh-uh. I ain't sticking in my hand in no hole. I can't see what's in there.
I said that too, and then I had one too many Bud Lights, and then that was the end of that. Now I love
it. All right. I get it. Touche.
Lack of common sense turned into a great hobby.
Yeah. Real cool, man. Well, what's the local shop up there that you support, man? How long you been working with them?
Let's see. The closest one to me is Oak Orchard, and it's actually like a 2-part shop.
Okay.
Like I haven't gotten to make a trip over to the main headquarters because it's about an hour and a half for me. Okay. But their secondhand shop is only 5 minutes from my job, so I like to try to swing in there as much as I can and talk to. And we used to have another one, and I gotta get back in there and see if we can do something and work something out with them, because that's another one that's pretty close. Because I just actually sold my F12, and I had people from Philly and 3.5, 4 hours away messaging me to see if it was available. So there probably could be something closer to me, because there's a lot of guys from farther away down near my area that are looking for, new canoes.
Right on. Very cool, man. So you're big into the tournament fishing up there in New York, correct? Like what's your season look like coming up, man?
Oh man, so I fish the NYKBF trail, and we usually have, I think, 6 to 8 tournaments a year, and then this year we just added on a Western Swing trail on there. So there's another 5 or 6, and we've got some of the big trails coming up here too.
Yeah.
Some of the Hobies and a couple of the KBF events. I'd like to try to throw my hat in the ring for some of those big events and see how I fare, because I'll push my own buttons a little bit. I do pretty well on our local trail, so I want to go and try to see how I fare up against some of the big dogs.
There you go, man. And just go after it. That's what I always tell everybody, man. Don't hold back. Some of the big guns aren't always as big as you think. You know what I mean? They have bad days on the water too, you know?
Oh yeah, been there, done that.
Right on. So
Once I think I know what I'm doing, I realize I don't. We got to rethink everything.
Relearn it all over again.
Yeah.
Go back to watching Bill Dance videos and Jimmy Houston.
All right, give me the Zebco 33, you know, red tire line. I'm getting bobber out.
What event are you looking most forward to? Like what body of water and all that?
Oh Lord, that's kind of tough because I say it's tough because there's one event, you know, it's Cuba Lake, and there are just absolute giants in there, absolute giants.
Yeah.
And then, but we've got two other smaller bodies of water called Hemlock and Canadice, and it's the Hem Dice event we call it. And one's really small body. Yeah, it's pretty small. You can paddle around the whole thing. And then the other one's about 7 or 8 miles long.
Oh,
and
wow.
there's no development around them. They're just two lakes and valleys, and they're super deep, gin clear water. Like
that's awesome.
Absolute. They're beautiful. And there's big smallies and big largemouth in them, and they're just super fun and peaceful. Like you're not going to catch the quality of fish you are out of them as you would Cayuga, but just the atmosphere of the whole tournament. You don't have, and their size restrictions on there too. So the biggest boat you can have on this lake is 16 or 17 foot with a 9.9. So you're not going to have KVD running down the lake at 120 miles an hour blasting you, or worry about Jimmy Houston, you know, cutting you off and fishing your spot.
That's cool, man. It's nice to see bodies of water like that. I know, you know, out here we don't have the gin clear water, but we do have like size and horsepower restrictions and things like that, man. And it's nice to have some of those bodies of water close to home, you know, for the kayak guys. You know, there are those types of bodies of water pretty much nationwide for the most part, you know.
Yeah. That's kind of one of the I don't want to say it's a bad thing, but it's a pain in the butt up here, is because most of our lakes are finger lakes, so they run north to south. They're a couple hundred yards wide, so it's hard to get away from the pleasure boaters.
Sure.
It's just being so narrow, the waves they just ricochet and build up, so it can get quite rough out there even on a calm day, because Mary Kate and Ashley, they just load up and get the party boat out and hammer down.
Right on, right on. So are you smallmouth or largemouth? What's your fave, man?
Oh, that's a tough call, because growing up in Louisiana, you know, all we got is largemouth, and we've got a handful of spots, and it's tough. It's really hard. It's like if I can punch or throw a frog, I'm going largemouth all day, because I just love punching them in the face. But if I'm not fishing just super thick, gnarly stuff, smallmouth. Like 2 years ago, I started really digging deeper into the smallmouth, and I was vertical jigging smallmouth in 60 foot of water.
Oh wow, right on.
It's like I'm really starting, like, because growing up in the South, you know, a lot of dirty, shallow water, and so it took some getting used to moving from down there to up here fishing this really clear water. I went from, you know, 17-pound line being the lightest line I'd ever used to I'm up here using 5 and 6 pound test on my spinning rod, using, you know, one eye
water. Yeah.
Yeah. Just making mile-long casts and stuff. It's crazy. It's like I spend more time with a spinning rod in my hand than I do a bait caster half the time now.
Interesting. Okay. Right on. Right on. Well, I'm going to ask you the question. I forgot to ask it last week, so I apologize, everybody. But I got to ask this question. You got a Frontier 12 rigged up tandem. You can go with anybody, dead or alive. Who you going fishing with?
Oh, frick. That's going to be tough. It's good because it's either going to be my old man or my grandpa, because it's like my old man died when I was 13.
Okay.
But, you know, so that's tough. And then my grandpa, he just died the last couple of years. But my grandpa he was the fisherman. my dad, he liked to hunt more. So it's like, I just to go out there and, you know, show my grandpa how far I've come and, you know, just show him I know what I'm doing now. Cause it was funny. I'll tell you a quick little story. Cause we used to have a camp on Toledo Bend. That is
Okay.
probably my favorite body of water to fish in this world. I love that lake.
Right on. Right on.
And my grandpa, he was up, you know, got the boat shed. So he just walked down and get in the boat. And so I just go get in the boat and throw the trolling motor in. And I'm probably, you know, 12, 13 at the time, something like that. Super young. And I'm up here and I learned, I had a fella teach me how to flip. So I'm down here flipping the wall. And my grandpa, he's already several Coors Lights deep up there. And the neighbor comes over and is talking to him. And I can hear him. And he's like, man, it just really pisses me off how he can do that so good and I can't. And that's just one of the funniest, most, you know, memories that stick out in my head. Because, you know, the older he got, you know, he didn't so much bass fish. He liked to go out and jig for sac-a-lait.
Jig for what?
Sac-a-lait, white perch, crappie.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Yeah, so, and then, you know, me, I was like, no, that's boring, Grandpa. You know, let's go catch some bass. Yeah, well, little did he know, I'm up here sitting on a bucket 4 months out of the year trying to catch white perch through
the ice.
Yeah.
Right on. That's cool, man. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I'd had, you know, that's one person I think I would definitely have in my boat, man. I never got to fish with my grandpa, but I heard he was a hell of a fisherman, and you know, that'd be cool to spend a day on the water.
And it's like, I tell you what, I don't know if I'd want him tandem in the F12 because he was a big man, and I'm not the tall person either. But I would love to have him out there, you know, sitting in a ice shanty, jigging for white perch and bluegill and just perch in general. Like, I feel like that would just tickle the heck out of him.
That's cool. Heck yeah, man. It's funny, man, when you bring up some folks from down south who have never ice fished before. I just had team new member Jimmy Skinner up by my place this winter. And he's like, man, this is weird. This is weird. I'm walking on a lake right now.
That's how I felt the first, you know, year I did it. It's like, man, I'm not Jesus. I ain't supposed to be walking on water. And then
yeah.
I'm an ice fishing fool now. I love it I love ice fishing just as much as I love open water fishing, if not more. You know, a lot of my friends find it quite funny being from down south, and you know, I'm one of the out of most of my buddies, I'm one of the guys that's better at it than they are.
That's cool.
Like, I'll go out there and spend 12 to 15 hours a day trying to catch a fish through a 6-inch hole.
Oh yeah, man. I spend days out on the ice and sleep in my shack, you know.
I just don't sleep.
Yeah.
Get off, drive home, close my eyes, open them, coffee in the pot, back out after it.
There you go. There you go. Right on, man. Right on. Well, anything else, man, you wanna throw out there to the good folks watching and listening at home, man?
Man, if anybody, you know, is on the fence about a new canoe and has any questions, reach out to me or any of the guys on the team, and you know, just we'll tell you the God's honest truth and anything you need to know. And if you can, go get in one, because it's just, I've been in a couple of different boats myself, and it's just, you know, I'm glad I got into different boats because I found the boat that fit my style. And that is one of the biggest things. Demo, and find something that's going to fit your style.
Absolutely.
Like 110%.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm in the same boat, man. I've been in all kinds of kayaks, man, and I try to get in as many different kayaks as I can, just to know how they perform, you know.
Well, that way you get people honest opinions on them. Not just like, you know, pulling them out of the air and reaching and hearsay. It's personal experience.
Well, you always get those questions too from potential customers that, you know, well, I was looking at, you know, brand X, Y, and Z. How does that compare to the F12 or the Pursuit, you know, and being able to actually give them a real answer instead of being like, well, I don't know, I've never paddled it, but I heard, you know, that doesn't usually relate. So,
yeah.
And I think that's
I just had that same thing happen to me.
Yeah, and I think that's key, man. I mean, a lot of our team guys have paddled other boats and can give you you know, a real honest opinion about it. So it's super cool. I like that, man.
Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Well, just want to thank you for taking the time out this evening for joining us here on the Unlimited Show. If this is your first time tuning in, guys, gals, we're here every Monday night, 7 Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. Next week, we have team member Romel coming up, and he is the kayak rigging wizard. So we are going to hammer him with some rigging questions. I know he just got his hands on some Unlimiteds, and he's talking about doing some pretty cool things. So, you know, Romel's out of California there, and he's pretty well known for coming up with some crazy rigging options and ideas. And he did have a part in helping design the actual Unlimited. So we're going to get his take on that. So tune in next week. Go follow Forrest on Instagram. It's Forrest, his last name, and 95. See, I didn't want to say it again because I'd butcher it. Buchan, right?
Yeah, good enough.
Bam. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you next week on Unlimited. Till next time, tight lines, smooth paddling. Peace.